I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm super excited to come and spend a bit of time with all of you. And of course, I have an amazing guest that's sitting and waiting for us in the green room, the amazing Meaghan Ziemba. If you haven't met her yet, I'm so glad that I get to highlight her and for you to meet her. She is really amazing and she's worthy of the title Wonder Woman. Um, if you and I have not met yet, hey, let me introduce myself. My name is Inga van Roy, and I am recognized as a community connection catalyst. So, what does that mean? Well, I help you build your community of friends so that you can get in touch with more people that are like you and make a little bit more money. How about that? So if you need help with that, please reach out. I would be absolutely honored to have a conversation and see if we can work together. I'm just if you don't know, this show is also live on online radio called Africa Online Radio. And if you want to, you can go and check it out. There's the link. The website is scrolling across your screen right now. So, right now, I'm actually checking out. I have a song playing on radio and I'm waiting for it to wrap up before I bring Meaghan on because I don't want them to miss a thing. I know that this experience is just going to be awesome. So, looking forward to that. If you are watching us live, please drop us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We want to acknowledge you. And if you're catching the replay, also please let us know by putting in the hashtag replay. And if you are listening on radio, I want to say thank you for your patience. We are live with my guest, so I'm going to bring her on and I'm looking forward to this amazing conversation. Welcome, Meaghan.
Hi, Ingar. How are you?
How's it going?
Good, really good. It's Wednesday.
Good. Um, Let me see. I'm struggling to hear you just a little bit.
Do you need me to switch mic?
Um, if you can.
Okay, 1 second. Audio
So,
settings. Hello to everyone that's here.
yes, hello everyone tuned in. Thank you for being here with us. It is Wednesday, the 13th of December, and I am live with Meaghan Ziemba of Mavens of Manufacturing. Um, I think I can hear you, Meaghan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Cool.
Awesome.
Took me a
So
little bit, sorry.
no, that's all good. Meaghan, won't you please introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Meaghan Ziemba. I do a few things. By trade, I'm a tech writer, so I write technical articles and blogs and help industrial manufacturers kind of create their editorial calendar and their content strategy just so that they can really get in touch with their brand voice and share it with their audience members and connect with them more in a more human level than a technical level. And then I also host Mavens of Manufacturing, which is a live video cast series that I have every Friday, highlighting some of the just amazing women that are in engineering and manufacturing and giving them the mic to kind of share their skill sets and how they're setting the new standards for modern day manufacturing.
I love that. And what about on the personal side?
On the personal side, so I'm recently single mom. I just got divorced, but I have 3 kids. One is going to be 20 this Friday. Her name is Annabelle. She's actually a college student
Wow.
in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. She wants to be a surgical nurse or an anesthesiologist. She's kind of balancing between the two. And then I have a 4-year-old. His name is Ronan, and a 6-year-old whose name is Declan. And they keep me on my toes pretty much every single day. I really love coffee and whiskey, and I also am obsessed with CrossFit. So I'm super excited because I'm getting more back into my initial routine where I'm going every day in the morning and working out. So I've been in a better mood these last couple of months.
My gosh. Yeah. When you and I were talking the other day and you told me about CrossFit, and I just hats off to you, Meaghan. It's definitely something that it's not always easy to incorporate into your daily life, right? So hats
Yeah.
off to you. Thank you for sharing. I want to say who's in the comments and acknowledge them. Oh,
Hi, Katie. Good to see you.
hello. Hi, Katie McDermott. Thank you for tuning in. And then we have Diane Byer as well saying
Hi,
hi.
Dan.
And Katie says, tuning in on LinkedIn from central Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Katie
Meaghan.
and I actually met with each other in person with Whitney, and it was really, really fun. We met in Milwaukee and had a couple drinks together, so it was good times.
Was it whiskey?
No, it was actually a Bloody Mary.
Oh my gosh. We have Zainab tuning in. She says, hello. Hi, Zainab. Thank you
Hi,
for being
Sadie.
here. Katie also says that she could hear you fine. And she says, Meaghan, I totally see a change in your smile
Yeah, I don't know
because
if
of the
that came
working
with the
out.
divorce or working out. Could be both.
Oh my gosh. Um, and Katie says, yeah, we did. Oh my goodness. We have Ileana as well. She says, I had to jump on for a quick minute to meet another woman superhero. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here, Ileana. She was also a Wonder Woman a few weeks ago. So thank you. Thank you for being here, ladies. I want to see, I think I have a few. Oh, I want to say hello to my friend Jay. Thank you for tuning in. And also Micheline. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. Um, Meaghan,
Mhm.
how did you get into the sphere of what you're doing now? Can you kind of walk us through like where you started and how did you get to this point where you're doing everything that you're doing?
Yeah, it was completely by accident, that's for sure. So when I was growing up, I'm sure all of us got asked the question of what you wanted to be when you grew up, and I didn't really have a single answer. I wanted to be everything because I just have a natural curiosity for everything. I did know that I didn't want to go to college. I really wanted to travel around the world. I had a couple of people ask if I should be a model or something like that, but my mom was not for any of that career pathway. So growing up, we were really like kind of guided to a 4-year college pathway just because that was what it meant to be successful. But when I was in high school, really the only thing I was good at was English. And so they were telling me I would be a college professor or some sort of teacher in marketing. And I just wasn't amused by any of those. So I did want to take a year off of high school, but a year off of school after high school. But my mom's like, if you take a year off, you're never going to go to college. So she kind of persuaded me to go to college. And I made all of the bad choices instead of the good ones. I never really studied. I didn't go to class. I was on academic probation for 2 years in a row. And then after my second year, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And her dad wasn't ready to be a dad at the time. So he went to Hawaii, and I moved back to Wisconsin and enrolled at the University of Milwaukee. And that's where I found out about technical writing from a former classmate of mine who was also a single mom. And she was just like, I'm only good at writing, and this is the track that has the highest pay salary compared to all the other writing tracks. And I was like, well, that's important for me because I have a little one that I need to keep alive. So I entered into that track and had a really good professor. And after college, didn't really know where I wanted to go. So I had a few jobs here and there in the manufacturing sector. And one day out of the blue, a trade publication company called me and said, hey, what's your engineering experience? And I'm like, I have none. Like, I'm just a tech writer. So they invited me to Madison and interviewed me and said I was a good fit for their publication. And I started out writing product releases and press releases for different companies. And then once I got the hang of that, they were like, do you want to start writing like in-depth articles and interviewing people? And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. So I was able to meet different engineers and designers and manufacturers from all over the world and write stories about their products and their design concepts. And then they allowed me to travel all over the United States. And then one year I ended up going to Munich, Germany for a massive trade show called Electronica. I don't even know if that's still around, but I just fell in love with the people. And from there, after about 7 years, I wanted to see if I could apply my skill set somewhere else. So I left and went into higher education. I did some marketing for a liberal arts college and completely was bored out of my mind. So I was like, okay, I got to go back to engineering and manufacturing. And I worked in a couple marketing departments for different companies. And I just love the people in this sector. Like, they're the salt of the earth people. And they're really trying to solve major problems that all of us face every day. And there's so much more to engineering and manufacturing that a lot of us are aware of because we don't see the behind the scenes of how the smallest components are made and the amount of work that goes into it. So it's just a really fun sector. And I decided that after a few years, I wanted to make my own rules, I guess you could say, and pick my own hours and pick my own projects. So I started Z Ink Solutions, which is my writing company. And then the pandemic hit, and I saw a bunch of conversations on LinkedIn that were surrounding some of the major issues going on in our sector, but there weren't really any women as the guests. And I met a lot of women during my trade publication years. So I was like, hey, you should invite this person on. And I always got, yeah, we'll invite them, but they never did. So I said, screw it, I'm going to start my own thing. So I had Mavens in manufacturing as an idea for a while. I actually pitched it to a nonprofit organization I used to volunteer for, and they said no to it because they were like, it's discriminatory and it leaves out men. And I'm like, well, okay, sure. So I just rolled with it on my own after getting encouragement from a mentor of mine, and it's been a hit ever since. And now I'm just really trying to combine all of my talents and tell the stories of this sector because I feel like we need that right now, especially in the United States, because we have this labor shortage. And then, some communities are really suffering. And I think manufacturing could be an answer for them to like rebuild their communities. So I'm doing a lot of collaboration work with other storytellers in the sector. So like Chris Lukey and Andrew Crow and Tony Neary from SME and Jay Call. Like I try to collaborate with them as much as possible to expand my reach. Nikki Gonzalez and Ali G from Automation Ladies are two others that I like collaborating a lot with, and just really sharing the stories of this great sector because they're really interesting.
Yeah, it really is. I particularly love to hear how actually people get into the sector. Because from my understanding, a lot of people um, don't set out to actually go into the manufacturing sector, but
Mm-hmm.
then become accidental manufacturers, right? I can
Yes.
say that's the truth for me. I never
Mm-hmm.
imagined myself ever being part of manufacturing or anything to do with manufacturing. In fact, Katie used to say to me, Inga, there's space for you here. Come on over. And I would be like, what the heck am I going to do in manufacturing, right? But what we don't realize is that, we have transferable skills and we can
Yeah.
use them. Um, so, wow, that's
100%.
awesome. Good to hear your journey. And why is it so important for you? I want to ask that question, and this is not a question that I listed for you, but why is it so important for you that you highlight women?
So right now in the United States, we're about 29 to 30%. I did attend an event in October. It was the Empowering Women in Industry event. And one of the statistics that really um, surprised me because, we were hearing a lot from other organizations that our presence was on the rise, but then it said in engineering, the presentation that I saw, it said in engineering that our representation is stagnant right now, and they're actually seeing a decline in interest from women in engineering fields. And I was just like, that's really interesting. But it's been male dominated forever, since the beginning of time, I guess you could say. And for innovation to really happen and to be a thing, and for us to really have a competitive edge, we need diversity of thought. And we can't really
Yeah,
get that if there's only one gender represented. And I think women have a unique perspective, especially with our own superpowers. Like we're more community focused, I think, and we
yes,
have more emotional intelligence, and we're just really in tune with relationships. So we like to build communities, and we like to connect people, and we like to build trusting relationships. And I think that's really important, especially if you're trying to gain a competitive edge on a global scale.
yeah,
So it's really important for me to like just demonstrate to younger generations that, hey, you might not have been pitched this idea before. You might have been encouraged to do something else.
yeah,
But maybe really look into some of these hands-on opportunities, because I feel like um, them telling me that I was terrible at math and science really limited my options for career pathways. So I never even bothered looking into engineering and manufacturing. And then when I did get into the space, I was like, you can work with robots, you can do this, you can do programming. Like, this is amazing. Like, why was I not encouraged to do these? Well, how
that's,
was your math scores? And I'm like, terrible. Oh, that's why. And I'm like, it doesn't seem right. Like, I feel like people learn at different capacities, and they learn uh, so I'm more of like a hands-on visionary type learner.
yeah,
And some people aren't like that. Some people can read long textbooks and retain a lot of information, where I need to be present and like put my hands on stuff and like see how it works. And then I can
yeah,
retain it a lot better. So I just feel like if I was given those opportunities, maybe my career pathway would have looked a little bit different. But
different.
I don't like hate what I do, because I get to meet a lot of different people and hear their stories, and I love that. But I just feel like we need to encourage more women to enter in these fields, and you're starting to
Yeah,
see that, like construction especially. There's a lot more women coming into that space and being comfortable in that space. And then I would just like to see it happen at a faster pace, because I feel like once we can truly have like I want to beat out the guys just because I'm naturally competitive. So I want to say 80% women and 20. I don't know. I'm being ridiculous right now, but I would like to have a higher percentage than men because I'm competitive. So
Yeah.
take that for what it's worth. But I would like to see an equal share of women and men just because I feel like that way we could be really innovative and feed off of each other and bring in different ideas.
Yes.
Because one of the examples that I got, a woman said, okay, how many here wear high heels? And of course, a lot of women raised their hand. And they said, okay, how many here take those shoes off when you're driving a car? And we pretty much all raised our hands because the gas pedal isn't designed for high heeled shoes. Like you can get
Yeah.
it. So, what if a woman wasn't involved in that conversation when they were designing the gas pedal? I'm sure we would have found a way so that we wouldn't have to kick off our high heels all the time to drive a car. So it's just we have a different perspective, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Because we do, we all, even though you and I are two women, we also bring different perspectives to the table. So it's
Mm-hmm.
important to have that diversity. And it's important also to have representation, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if there are more women in the sector, then more women will look and see them and then want to be part of it.
Right. And
So,
I mean, right now, too, on a leadership level, I think 1 in 4 leaders in engineering and manufacturing is the woman. So
wow.
it's really hard to make change if the leadership isn't there either. And I'm not trying to kick
Yeah.
out the men. I don't want men to feel like I dislike them because I don't. I have a lot of male mentors that really help grow my career and encourage me to do what I'm doing today. And without them, this wouldn't have been possible. But we just need, and I've had this conversation with other girlfriends of mine. Like when you have a female mentor, it's different because you can talk about things that you might not be comfortable talking to men about. And I don't think there's
Yeah.
an issue in that. I think depending
No.
on what skill sets you're trying to improve and grow, that's how you're going to determine who's the right mentor for you. But there's
Right.
women mentors that I want for me personally, especially in leadership positions, because right now that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to that next level in my career. And
Yeah.
yes, my male mentors are doing a fantastic job, but I do want a perspective from a female leader. I want to know how they got
Yeah.
through that glass ceiling and pushed themselves. So that's
Yeah.
the kind of mentor that I'm looking for right now.
I love that. Let's go to the comments quickly. I see Katie. Can you read this, please?
How to tell a true Wisconsinite, the way they say Milwaukee.
Yeah, she's commenting on what you
Yes.
said earlier. She said, "Yay! I'm so glad Inga joined us. Thank you." Um, Aliana says, "Superhero Z, we must connect." So she'd love
Yes,
to
I would
connect with
love
you.
to.
And Diane, she says this. She says, "You're hitting all the right notes. We need to encourage everyone. We also need to
Mhm.
examine how we educate our students and look at how we can inspire them for their future path."
Mhm.
You're
I
so right, Diane.
100% agree with that. We
Yeah.
also need to support teachers too, because there's a lot of teachers in VOTech programs that don't get a lot of hands-on with how the industry is changing right now. So they're kind of falling behind in their skill set. So what are some of the resources we can provide teachers of today so that they can keep up with all of the advancements that are happening within industry?
Nice. Nice. So Megan, I talk about this and I'm gonna say it again.
I love
I'm
this.
all about Ubuntu, and it
Mhm.
means so it's an ancient African word meaning humanity to others. It is often described as reminding us that I am because we are. And I can say for me, the reason why I really believe in this principle is because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing had I not been connected to certain people. And
Mhm.
yesterday, I had a conversation with somebody who reminded me that, you know, when we connect with some people, well, when we connect with each other, we really are being exposed to so much more than just being connected. We're being exposed to so many ideas and opportunities, right? Because when you see somebody that you know that's like you, that's doing
Mhm.
something, hey, it makes you realize that if they can do it, so can I, right?
Mhm.
And so community is very, very important to me because I believe that we are all part of a fabric, right? We are all strands in a fabric. So, what does community mean to you, Megan?
I think it's a group of like-minded people, or even not like-minded people, that come together and just help each other grow. So it's what does my mom always tell me? So when I got pregnant with my daughter at 19, um, my mom was more accepting, I think, and compassionate than my dad was. I think my dad's first 12 words out of his mouth were all cuss words because he couldn't believe that I was 19 and pregnant. But Annie is like, that he's got a really close relationship with her now, so it does mean a lot to me. But my mom says it's going to take a village to help you and raise her, and she was right. Like, without my family, I don't think Annie would be where she is at today either, because I had to work full time, go to school full time, and be a mom full time. And I wasn't always present as a mom because I was doing work or school. So my mom and my dad and my brother and my sisters all stepped in, and it really did take a village to raise her to be who she is today. And I think that's the same for community. Is like, it takes everybody to put something into that piece of pie for a community to be successful. And some communities struggle, and I think it's because there's a lack of visionaries and a lack of good leadership. So
Yeah,
it really does start with a good message and a good core value. And I think we can start making communities better if we just look outside of ourselves. So I think community is something too where people aren't just thinking about themselves, they're actually looking out for other people. So you really have to stand outside of yourself and look at the whole perspective. And I think personally that women are really good at that, just because, if you look at wildlife, my favorite animal is lions. But if you look at female lions in a pride, they look out for one another and they look out for each
yeah.
other's cubs. And I just feel like that's how good communities should be. So it's definitely not looking inside yourself, it's looking outside of yourself and asking yourself the question, okay, how can I help everyone be the best that they can be so that we can all thrive together. And
Oh,
an example I can give you is that I have a tribe uh, of women, and we are all in the engineering and manufacturing space, and we met each other on LinkedIn, and we've had the great honor to meet each other in person at some point too. But
that's awesome.
we text each other all the time, and it's because without that support, I don't think we would all be as successful as we are, because we support one another. So it's a great tribe, I like to call it, because we come from similar fields and we have similar missions, and we give each other advice and we connect each other to other connections so that we can grow our community as well. And it's just a great opportunity to help each other out. So
Oh, wow. That is awesome. And I was going to ask you, what kind of communities are you part of? Um, so, what about the work that you do? How is it related to community and the communities that you're part of?
yeah, so within the United States, manufacturing is like going through this workforce shortage. So automation is one of the biggest topics of discussion, and so is artificial intelligence. But again, um, for us to attract more people into this sector, we have to work together to do that. It can't be on one person's shoulders because it's
Mm.
just too large. So I recently had a conversation where I was like, if you want national results, you have to start at the community level. So communities really need to come together and come up with a strategy on how they are going to change things at the educational level, but also at the community level and at the government level as well too, because some of these policies that our representatives are coming up with really affect how small to medium-sized businesses can run. So it's going to take a village, like I mentioned before, for us to really grow manufacturing here in the United States. But I see that in other places of the world too. I had a conversation with a business owner in Ireland where women only represent 12% in the engineering and manufacturing business, and they're coming up with strategies around some of the same things that we're trying to come up with strategies here in the United States. So how can we work together to really bring different people together, to bring awareness to other communities that might not know that this is an option for them? Like what sort of collaborations can we do? So it really is something that's going to take more than just myself and other people I'm collaborating with to really heighten manufacturing here in the United States. And it's that keyword, community.
Yes, I love it. Um, so I am aware that you have given talks at schools, right? Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so one of the first events that I did was actually a virtual event because COVID was still prevalent. So about 2 or 3 years ago at the high school I graduated from, I was talking to one of the teachers and she's like, some of these kids don't know what engineering or manufacturing is outside of what they're being taught at our school. And I said, well, what if I can do like a manufacturing tour within the community so that they can actually talk to the companies that are making some of the products that they're using? And she's like, we would love that. Because again, teachers don't have the time to do all of this stuff, or they don't have the funds, or they don't have the network and the connection. So I knew I was really good at connecting people. So I just took it upon myself to do this because everybody was complaining about the workforce issue, but I didn't really see anyone doing something about it. So, yeah, I reached out to some of the manufacturers and they're like, hey, look, we would love to do this, but because COVID is still a thing, we don't want to be liable for any of the kids getting sick. So we can't really invite them in our facilities right now. And I was like, okay. So what I did was I tapped into my LinkedIn network and I reached out to Andrew Crow, Tim Wilborn, his wife, Amber Wilborn, and one of their employees, Mary, Jake Hall, Chris Lukey, Justin Sherman. I had Jesse Salazar, who at the time worked at the Pentagon, and a couple other people. Aaron Prather was one of them. And I had them tap in virtually into StreamYard. And I did this live event that lasted for 4 hours. I brought in the community media and talked about the importance of showing these students what was outside of their community so that they could get more excited about it. And one of the things that came out of it, well, two things. So I brought Drew in person. Drew, his story is phenomenal. If you're not following him, I highly suggest you do. But he's a convicted felon. And he always says that, manufacturing saved his life. So now what he does is he goes to communities and he talks to kids who might not come from the best economic community or background.
Yeah.
And at the high school I graduated from, a lot of the kids thought the only way to make money or make a living was either join a gang, sell drugs, or commit a life of crime. And I told Andrew, I was like, look, I'm a white girl from suburbia. They're not going to listen. Like, they'll listen to me, but they're not going to connect with me like they'll connect with you. So can you come and share your story? And he had kids in tears because he gave them that light of hope for them. And that's what we need. Like, we need more representation, I think. And the other thing is that, inviting all of these people that came from everywhere in the United States really meant something to them as well, because they were like, why do these people even care about us? Like, why would they take time out of their day to come share their story? And I told them, I was like, because they need new ideas. They need new engineers and manufacturers, and you are it. You can create the future for this country if you decided to come into this sector. So the other thing I did was I offered to bring them to IMTS in 2022. And I said, have you guys ever been to this show? And they're like, no, we don't even know what it is. So
Can you
I
tell us
sponsored
what IMT stands for, please?
yeah, so IMTS is the International Manufacturing Technology Show, and it happens every 2 years in Chicago, Illinois. In
Nice.
2022 was their first year back after COVID, so I think they were down for like 4 to 6 years. So I
Wow.
actually teamed up with her name is Frances. She does the women something manufacturing. She has a podcast. So I reached out to her and she's like, I'll sponsor the bus for them. So I'm really grateful for her because
Wow.
she really got the kids to Chicago. But they came to Chicago and they were completely blown away of how big things can be built. So they were able to see the small robotics that they had in their facility, their school, and the CNC machines
Wow.
that they were running. They were able to see them 10 times as big. And it just really kind of got their gears showing. And they were like, wow, there's a lot that we can do in this sector, even though we might not want to do CNC machining or additive manufacturing. Like there's a lot of things that companies are doing to be more sustainable and run more green. And
Yeah.
that means a lot to Gen Z. So it just really opened up their eyes. The other thing I did was I spoke to over 700 girls for a digital divas event, and I was just able to kind of show them the women that I interviewed. And I said, look, if you don't want to do this, this, or this, you could do this, this, or this. And I just showed them a list of women that are doing amazing things in engineering and manufacturing, and just trying to give them a different perspective. And then right now, I'm currently working with a smaller robotics team in my community. They're called Turtle Tech. And I'm just kind of mentoring them on how to do events and do fundraisers for their team and how to get sponsors or partnerships. And then I'm hoping to bring them along with some more high school students to IMTS 2024 so that they can connect with companies and build relationships, because those
Nice.
teams, those robotics teams, they need ongoing partnerships to support their efforts on the team. So I'm trying to expand their network there. And then I continue to work with people like Drew Crow and Chris Lukey, and we're hoping to do an event in June next year. I'm not going to give too much away about that because I haven't written the proposal yet, but Drew Crow, Chris Lukey, and myself, and we're working with a member of the SME. We're going to try to do an event in June of 2024. So
Beautiful.
stay tuned for that because I'll have more details about that.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. Let's see. So Diane is agreeing with you. She says 100% and collaborate within the community. Yes. She also says create the future.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I want to read you something actually from one of my listeners on radio. And they said, I really love her energy, but mostly just her way of thinking and perception of things. I love it because it's different. Um, yeah. And she says, because you said that you were ridiculous, and she said, she's not ridiculous at all. I fully understand. Um, and they also said, I agree. If leadership does not understand or sees the vision, it's very difficult to implement changes. I know.
Mhm.
We need to have buy-in our um, from our leadership for sure. I
Mhm.
oh, I want to also say hello, Amanda. Thank you for tuning in. Good to have you here with us. And also received a message from Eleanor. Eleanor and I are connected on LinkedIn, and then I seen that she's actually part of the radio community that I'm broadcasting to as well. So that was pretty cool to see. She's in Cape Town, South Africa. Um,
That's super cool.
yeah. Let me see, Megan. I want to ask you. So, by the way, anyone that's listening on radio, if you want to be part of the conversation and send a WhatsApp message, you can do so to +277 69714 45204. Meaghan, let me
Mhm.
see. So we spoke about Ubuntu and your and community and the communities that you're part of. Can you tell me? Because I remember asking you this question, like, and this was a while ago, probably in October, when I was asking you, like, what is the one thing that has helped you overcome adversity in your life? And you said definitely my people, my community,
Mhm.
my tribe. So
Yeah.
how did that get to be that one thing? Like, how did what sort of adversity did you face that you learned that you were able to tap into this superpower that's really outside of you, right? How did you get to learn that community was your thing?
Yeah. So I am actually doing a coaching right now. I invested in a life coach because I just felt like I hit a ceiling with what I could do as a leader, and I didn't know how to move forward with it. But what's interesting about this opportunity is it's actually tapping into a lot of trauma that I suppressed. And it's trauma from like my childhood, my youth, my middle adulthood, up even up until now. And it's just really interesting how we tell stories to ourselves and believe them, and that kind of puts limitations on what we pursue. So what do I mean by that? Like one of the things that I was telling myself is I wasn't worth being an entrepreneur, or I didn't have the ability to go on my own because I've never done it before and I don't have a business degree. So I was telling myself more negative things than positive things. And I think to kind of overcome some of those false beliefs, you have to have a team behind you that can see the value in yourself before you see it in yourself, who encourage you to take those leaps forward. So I I was actually surrounding myself with a lot of negative people who were always like in a bad mood, and to each their own. Like people have to deal with their issues themselves when they're ready to. But what I found is me being around those types of people, it was actually sucking me down further into a dark, like a downward spiral.
Spiral.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So by surrounding myself with more positive people like yourself and Gail and Katie and the tribe of women that I have, um, that encouragement really started to like make sense. And I started to tell myself, yeah, I am worth this. Like I can do this. I
Yeah.
have the ability to do that. I have a master's degree in technical writing, so I shouldn't have to keep defending my position to people who don't think that I'm worth what I'm
Sure.
charging them. Like I started telling affirmations to myself. So it's really helpful to have that group of support behind you, because as one, yes, you can probably overcome things, but who was I talking to? They said when you hit the top spot, sometimes it can be really lonely because you don't
Yes.
want to let people know your weaknesses. Um, but I think good leaders surround themselves with good board of directors.
Yeah.
So then it becomes less lonely. But without those words of encouragement, I would have kept telling myself that I'm not worth doing something, and that's that's not good. Like you shouldn't tell yourself that, because we're all worth something. We're all human. So
Yeah.
just hearing those words of encouragement and love really gives you the confidence and the security that you need, and you can basically, but you don't want to get too cocky either. Like you need to be humble about your
Yes.
accomplishments, because again, it's not just about you. And unfortunately, I see that happening a lot, where people hit a certain milestone and then all of a sudden they're like this amazing human being and they can do no wrong, and they kind of lose sense of their humility and their humbleness. And I think you just
Yeah.
need to to keep coming back to. Like one of the
Saying that.
things you asked, one of the things you asked me the other day is, am I praying through things? And I appreciate you asking that so much, because I feel like a lot of people are afraid or hesitant to talk about their beliefs.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should be a thing. I think if you
Well,
believe in prayer, and if you believe in God, if you believe in something spiritual, it should be okay for you to talk about it. Because if that's what helps you get through hard times, I don't see anything wrong with that. So I really appreciated you asking me that, because some people don't ask me that. And
yeah.
prayer is very important to me, and I pray every day to have strength and to get through
Yeah.
things.
I think people are afraid to touch certain topics just because
Yeah.
they're afraid to offend somebody. But at least I know I know where you stand in terms of that, right? So
Mhm.
it was just my way of saying, like, this for me has been the one thing that has helped me overcome things is to pray.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, honestly, when we're going through the most terrible time, it's difficult to pray. It's
Hmm.
difficult for us to really like seek God and pray, and because you also like you think about your mindset, and you know that if you're in a bad mindset, it's not glorifying to God, right?
Hmm.
I want to say I'm getting messages on my phone, so I want to read this to you. Wow. I am inspired by what she does, especially for our community. And yeah, they say, may what she does grow more and more. There should
Thank you.
definitely be more people like Megan. See, I tell you all
I
the
appreciate
time, and now I hope now we've got it recorded. You are amazing, Megan.
Thank you. I
You
appreciate that.
are, you are. And they also said, wow, it's like she's explaining who I am. I am so touched by her story and journey. Wow. And they said, listening to you two now, I am extremely emotional. I'm so overwhelmed by this group of emotions that I'm experiencing. So know that, um, you were meant to be here on this show to share, what you've been through and what it's been like, your journey, right?
Mhm.
So what's coming up for you that you want to share with us today? I know you said you have an
Yeah, so
event tomorrow.
I do have an event tomorrow. It's on LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live. It's called the End of the Year Social Jam. So two of my tribe members, they're good friends of mine, Nikki Gonzalez and Ali G. They're also part of engineering and manufacturing. They do a podcast called Automation Ladies. So we're going to be co-hosting a social jam. And it's really for anyone who wants to just come on and talk about some of their big wins, some of their big losses, most frustrating moments of 2023, what they're looking forward to in 2024. And then if they want to put any shameless plugs in and talk about what they do, we're welcoming that, because, how do you create your network without telling people what you do? So I'm hoping not to crash the internet, but I'm hoping a lot of people do show up, because we know a lot of amazing people, and we're just trying to build each other up as best we can before the end of the year. And then in 2024, I'm working on the event with Chris Lukey, Tony Neary, and Andrew Crow. That's going to be in June sometime, so just keep your ears open for that. I can't provide any more details yet, because we haven't gotten the proposal yet, but working on that. And then I'm doing a show called A Moment with Mavens. So I do Mavens in manufacturing, and that's been mostly women. And I don't want to say I hurt their feelings, but there's a lot of guys who like what I do, and they want to have the conversation with me. So A Moment with Mavens is actually going to be for all of the gentlemen that I know in my life. And they're going to be able to come
Nice.
on and share a moment with me and talk about some of the things that they're working on and what they're doing. And hopefully discuss some of the ways that they're supporting women in the sector as well too, because I always want to focus on what my niche is, and that's women in the space. And then I have 2 new brands coming out, Mavens of Construction and Mavens of Robotics. Right
nice.
now, I'm just kind of seeing where they go. I'm not really separating it from the Mavens brand, so they'll all be tied closely together. But I just want women in construction and women in robotics to know that, hey, there's a space for you here to share your story if you want to come on and have a conversation. Because I did meet a lot of women in construction, and they're like, well, we're not really like manufacturing, we're kind of different. And I'm like, yeah, but manufacturing is entering in construction. So I just decided to create a separate brand for them, and hopefully I can get more women in construction to share their stories, because that is a cool space, and I see a lot more women getting involved with it. And yeah, I'm just gonna try to hit as many communities as I possibly can and talk to as many younger generations, and see what we can do to really strengthen manufacturing in the United States. One of my goals is to try to get to the White House somehow and have conversations there. I don't know yet how I'm going to do it, but that's my goal.
That's okay.
I want to be part of that conversation. So hopefully I can either like hold someone's hand that's on their way to do it and just kind of join the conversation that way, or figure out how to do it myself. So that's one of my goals.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to put this here. So your YouTube channel is Mavens of Manufacturing. So anybody that wants to follow along and just tune in to when Meaghan is live, you can find her on YouTube. And the channel name is Mavens of Manufacturing, and there are hyphens in between the words. I just checked on my phone. And yeah, if people want to connect with you, where can they connect, Meaghan? What's the best place?
Yeah, so the best place is probably LinkedIn. That's the channel that I'm mostly on, but I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But if you want to reach out to me with my email and my phone number, all of that information is on my LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
So my name is spelled differently. It's Meaghan. And then my last name is Ziemba, pronounced Zimba. So if you think of Simba from The Lion King, but just make that Z sound, that's how you can pronounce it.
Oh, awesome. So Meaghan, we have a few more minutes. Can you tell me, um, what are your final thoughts with regards to community? And if somebody doesn't have a community, how do they get started in building one? What do you think?
So there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that aren't too great, and I find it really sad. So I feel like the main thing is just try to look outside yourself and how you can be part of a solution instead of part of the problem. Because I am a strong believer that the more good you put out in the universe, the more it comes back to you. So I always try to be, I don't want to say the better person, because I hate it when people tell me that, like, oh, just be the better person. And sometimes you just don't want to be. You want to have your tantrum. But I just feel like if you can put more good out in the world, it's better for everyone. And then for anyone who doesn't have a community, it's really, it can be intimidating, but I think it shouldn't be. Just ask if you can join a community, or, what is your passion? What do you like to do? What's your favorite things? What makes you the happiest? And then just build a group around that. Invite people to come along. You do have to get outside of your comfort zone, which can be really hard, but it's completely worth it when you find the right people.
Yes.
And just be authentic and be genuine. I know it's really hard in the professional environment to be yourself, because sometimes you have to have those two faces, but I'm challenging the status quo. And I think that's why a lot of people enjoy who I am, because what you see is what you get. I'm kooky. I'm kind of crazy. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I drop the F bomb a lot, which my mom keeps yelling at me for. Even though I'm 40, she's just like, you need to say that word less. And I get really excited and it just comes out. I don't know what to tell people. So I'm really about just being your authentic self. And, some people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. You don't have to pay attention to those people. Because
Right.
regardless of how happy of a person you are, I mean, I had someone the other day yell at me because they thought I was being fake and not genuine because I didn't respond to their message right away. And I just was like, there's something going on in your life that has nothing to do with me. So I'm going to pray for you. But I'm not going to let you yell at me like that. So here's my
Yeah.
boundary. Have a good day. God bless you. So just don't let those people ruin your day. But if you need a community to be a part of, please reach out to me. I would love to welcome you into mine. I'm really about helping people out and making them feel comfortable. So come join mine.
I love that. Thank you, Meaghan. Um,
Yes.
let's see. Let's see the last few comments. Want to see. Oh, Diane says positive reinforcement and positive mindset, as well as positive inspiration. So,
Mhm.
you see? And Michael said, great episode. Thank you, Michael, for being here. Um, and Diane loves your goal. Definitely, you know, I read somewhere that if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough, right?
This
Yeah.
one really scares me, but I feel like I can get this. So, a fun fact about me, I have a cousin who actually wrote for People magazine, and she used to be how she got her start out. She worked for the Associated Press, and she was one of the reporters that would get one of the first few questions into the press. I don't remember which administration it was, but she used to be one of the White House reporters. So it was cool to kind of see
Jeez.
her make that transition to People magazine, and I'm just like, she can do it. I can do it too because we're blood and we got the same kind of characteristics. So I'm just gonna pull inspiration from her, and if I
Yeah.
keep talking about it, it's gonna happen. It's gonna
Yes.
happen.
We're going to manifest it, right? Um, and Diane says she can't wait to see you in Washington. Whoop, whoop.
I
Yes,
will
that'll
reach
be
out to you.
awesome. We will be cheering you on. Trust me. I think we need to be part of those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Seeing women there, right?
Mhm. Well, and here's the other point I want to make too. A lot of people, when they make it to the top, sometimes forget how they got there, and
Yeah.
they kind of lose touch with the people that are helping them make them successful. Um, and I think some of our leadership needs that reminder. Like,
Yeah.
you're not there because you did it on your own. People put you there. So let's
Right.
reconnect with them and help each other out. I'll probably
Wow.
get a lot of people mad at me for that, but
It's the truth.
it's just my thought.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it's my thought
Yeah.
process.
Wow. Well, thank you, Megan, for being an amazing
Thank you.
guest. I can see that you've touched a lot of people with what you brought today. So thank you for coming and
I'm
sharing your
blessed.
story with us.
Thank you, Ingrid. I appreciate you so much. You are one of the first people that inspired me to just change my mindset and be positive and be good. And I was so
Thank you.
excited to meet you in person at the trade show that we were at
Yes.
and just give you a hug. That was
Oh my
amazing. So thank you.
gosh. It really was. So if you're listening on radio, Megan and I met at a trade show in September, and it was so cool to recognize you walking. Remember, you were walking towards me, and I said, Megan.
I was like, it's
Oh,
Ingrid. Woo!
oh my
And then you were
gosh.
with Sam, who I love
Yeah.
Sam too. He's awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was really awesome. But thank you for being here and spending some time with us. Diane also says, thank you both for an amazing discussion. Thank you,
Thank you,
Diane, and
Daya.
thank you, Megan. Um, I will send you to the green room as I wrap up.
Okay.
And if you are still watching live, I would like to encourage you to come on over and join us on africup.co.za. Please come over and join us. The conversation will continue there with just me wrapping up and also helping to point you in the direction of building your community. So until next time, take care, God bless you, and goodbye.